You ever wake up one morning and realize you're the only one in your own family who remembers how it all started, how love and memory built to everything you're trying to hold on to? Yeah, that happened to me. The craziest part? My own son's wife called the cops on me, thinking I was some trespasser, not a woman who gave everything so they could have a place to call home. Let me back up a sec. My name's Nadine Whitlow, and for 56 years I've worked my hands raw for everything I have, and never asking for more than respect, family, and a little peace. I've run a property management business out of Savannah, Georgia, since before most people knew what a side hustle was. Lost my husband, Walter, to a heart attack a dozen years back. Left me and our boy Jordan, who was the center of my whole world. 3 years ago, Mama passed, too. Left me her house up in Charleston, a big old colonial with magnolia trees and a porch swing creaking in the breeze. That house smelled like lemon balm and Sunday dinner and everything good you tried to pass down. I moved back in after Walter died, rebuilt my life inside those brick walls, every memory layered in the paint, every scratch on the old dining table a chapter. That house kept me sane and safe, and when Jordan finally called to say he was ready for something new, I handed him the keys. Come live here rent-free, I told him. Fix it up, make it yours, take the next step. The pride I felt watching him cross that threshold, God, I'll never forget it. Didn't know then what was coming down the road. Didn't see Zaria coming. She swept into Jordan's life like she owned the place from day one. Slick, polished, always smiling, but never with her eyes. Atlanta girl said all the right things, but she moved in so fast I barely caught my breath. Before I knew it, she was answering the door, rearranging furniture, covering up family photos like they were something to be embarrassed about. One day I brought over a peach cobbler, just trying to be the kind of mom who shows up, and she looked at me like I was a nuisance. You didn't call, she said, standing there like a gatekeeper. Didn't even invite me in. That's when I started feeling it slow shifting, like I was being erased from my own story. You know what I mean. It's little things at first. Grandma's quilt vanished from the banister, Mom's old rocking chair gone, replaced with something white and soulless. Even the table that saw every Thanksgiving since '80 swapped out for glass and steel. When I asked Jordan about it, he just mumbled something about Zaria having a vision, but I could see my mother's house getting hollowed out, piece by piece. The first real punch came on a Sunday. Our family tradition was dinner together, but that night, when I let myself in with my own key, I found Zaria standing there with a wine glass, flashing a diamond ring. Jordan and I are married now, she said, holding up her hand like she'd conquered something. Suddenly I was an outsider in the house I gave away. That night, lying awake, I kept hearing my mother's voice, protect this house. It's part of your soul. Felt like I was losing not just a home, but my own son. After that, everything changed. Jordan asked me to start calling before visits. Zaria hovered whenever I did come by, correcting Jordan, dodging any story from the past. She started talking about our house like I was just some relic in her way. Then one day I went looking for some old documents, import stuff, mortgage papers, my parents' will. Walked into what used to be my study, only to find it turned into Zaria's studio, ring lights and all. The drawer with all our family files gone. I looked around and, sure enough, the closet was empty too. Here's where it all spun out. I glanced at her laptop, and there was an online listing for my mother's lamp, the one-of-a-kind one handed down for generations, $750. And it wasn't just the lamp. Dad's medals, the Christmas silverware, every relic with meaning all up for sale under her name. I stood there, numb, until Zarya walked in. When she saw me, she went cold, tried to play it off like those things didn't matter, that they were just furniture. But they weren't, they were our story. When I confronted her, she doubled down, saying Jordan gave her permission. That's when I pulled out the deed. "This house is still in my name," I said, voice shaking but firm. "You've been living here because I love my son, but you don't get to erase my family." Jordan came home to a war-zone and Zarya staring each other down, the truth spilling out right there in the living room. For a moment, it looked like he might side with her, but when I laid out the proof, shot him the listings, the empty closet, saw it all, clear as day. Now here comes the twist. Zarya, desperate, called the cops on me in my own house. Cops showed up, got the story, read the paperwork. Officer Daniels, bless him, looked her dead in the eye and said, "Legally, this is Ms. Whitlow's property. You're here at her discretion." You should have seen her face, the way her world cracked open, realizing she was a guest all along. I told Jordan, "You let her sell our legacy." He broke down, finally admitting he'd been trying to build something new, but in the process lost sight of what mattered. That night we sat together and started piecing things back, literally. Old photos, dusty boxes, grandma's letters, little things that carry the weight of our whole family. We laughed about old Thanksgiving disasters, remembered good times, and for the first time in months the house felt warm again. But Zarya wasn't done. She came back the next day, angry and bitter, throwing accusations, talking about rights and marital property. I handed her a letter from my attorney, spelled it out. "You have no legal claim. You never contributed. You're not welcome here." She tried to storm the halls one last time, but I stood my ground, made her leave. Later, with police and a court order, we found a storage unit she'd rented under a fake name full of our heirlooms, boxed up like trash. We brought everything home. Some pieces were ruined, some lost for good, but most of it was still there. More important, Jordan started finding himself again, therapy, work, rebuilding bit by bit. We put the old table back, rehung the family photos, sewed the quilt onto the banister. Slowly, the house healed. Zarya's story started unraveling. Turned out she'd done this before, lied about her past, manipulated other men, left behind a trail of restraining orders and heartache. She tried to fight in court, but with all her lies exposed, she disappeared for good. A few months later, Jordan told me he was moving out, not because he wanted to run, but because he was finally ready. "I want you to keep the house, Mom," he said, "not just legally, but as your sanctuary. We set up a trust to make sure this place would stay safe for the next generation ever again upon and anyone else's game." By autumn, the house was full again, laughter, music, good food, neighbors and family dropping by like old times. The shadow of Zarya faded. Jordan stood taller, smiled more, and I finally felt proud not just of him, but of myself, for fighting for our legacy. You ever have to stand your ground to protect what matters most, even if it means facing down your own fears, your own family, or the ghost of your past? Tell me about it. Do you think I did the right thing? Where would you draw the line? I want to hear your story, Speckos. That's what makes a house a home. If you felt something in this story, let me know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe if you believe in the strength of family, the power of memory, and the courage to protect what's sacred. Remember, houses have walls, but it's your voice that makes them truly yours.